Hello, plant biologists. Today we're talking about the anatomy of plants. It's maybe my least favorite subject. I like plants, I like talking about the anatomy of the plant, but there's only so many ways to make this interesting. So I'm going to do a video on it so you can put me on a higher speed and get it over with. There's just only so many ways I can dazzle up the sepals and the petals. You just have to know them. Okay, knowing the lifestyle, the life cycle, and the lifestyle. You wouldn't believe some of the plants have sketchy lifestyles, eating bugs and all. Basically, knowing seed to death, what happens to the plant, will help you be a better botanist and plant biologist because you will know how to help the plant in any of these phases. So we're going to develop vocabulary around these processes. So the first thing that you need to know is monocot versus dicot. Monocots are grasses. It comes up, imagine, like a little grass versus a dicot. So this is a monocot. It's going to look like a grass. It's corn also. Corn is grass. So this is what a monocot looks like. This is what a dicot looks like. These two things, here's one and here's one, are the first leaves. This is a cotyledon. This is also a cotyledon. So one cotyledon versus two cotyledons. The first thing that happens, we're going to start with the monocot, is it takes in water and it swells. So this is 0 hours, this is 40 hours after it's been planted or germinated in water. You're going to see that it's going to increase its water content. It's going to start to create oxygen and it's going to increase its respiration rate, and all kinds of magical things are going to happen to the plant once you start germinating its seed. The emergence of the radicle, which basically is the beginning of the root. So here's the root that's going to start coming out. This is where it's going to come out from. You're going to get a radicle here, and it's going to extend through this bottom part of the seed, and it's going to begin to branch some secondary roots. So in a monocot, your cotyledon sort of stays down here in this beginning, but you are going to start to see your radicle extend through. So in this case, you're going to see the coleoptile emerge. So here it is again. You're developing embryo. You have a radicle that emerges that will eventually be your root. You have your coleoptile, which is going to be your first leaf. Your apicotyl, which is going to come out and be a leaf. And that is the beginning of what your plant will look like. Now, looking at stem and root growth, you're going to have roots from the stem, you're going to have female flowers, you're going to have male flowers, the pistil and the stamen, pollination is going to occur. The corn kernel is actually an individual fruit, so each corn kernel is a fruit. The fruit matures, the plant dies. It's a 1-year cycle. And that is the life of a corn plant. The life of a bean plant, and basically everything that's not a grass. Again, you're going to get your swollen seeds. What happens here is out of the side of this plant, you're going to have a root that comes this way and the plant stem that's going to go this way. Versus if you come back here to the corn, it just one goes down, and this is going to be related to gravity, and one is going to go up, also related to gravity, and once it gets here, it's going to start growing towards the light. So it just sort of comes out of the side. The hypocotyl emerges and extends down to the roots. Here again, you have your hypocotyl. The root's going to go this way. The stem's going to kind of go up here towards the light, away from gravity. You're going to get your first leaves, and there is your dicotyledon, your two cotyledons right there. Meristem. So meristematic tissue is probably the most important thing that we talk about in terms of plants. Meristems are where the plant grows. It's going to grow one of three places. It's going to grow on top of the bud, and it's going to grow up to create a new leaf. It's going to grow wide to create the stem bigger, and it's going to grow down here at the roots. It's going to go this way. So you're going to have meristematic tissue, which is basically dividing tissue. in those three places. The one place that it's talking about here is the first leaf. So this is going to be where your meristem tissue is, and it's going to continue to grow this way. Here's your apical meristem. That's going to be your topmost meristem, and that's where your growth is going to come from. Flowers develop in the axil, which is where the leaf attaches to the stem. So you've got stem, you've got leaf. This is the axil, if you want to do it this way. This is the axil where the stem attaches. This doesn't start to happen about the fourth set of true leaves. So the plant is not going to try and reproduce until it knows it's in a good spot. So it's going to grow 4 sets of leaves. It's going to photosynthesize because babies take a lot of energy. So if you're going to grow a flower, you want to have enough leaves to photosynthesize. You want to make sure you're in a spot that's not too shady, that's not being crowded out by someone else. And then you're going to start looking at a terminal bud, which contains a shoot meristem, and that is going to be where you're going to start that process. Here again is our bean process. Knowing the life cycle of monocots and dicots is critical for those who grow plants. So one of the things that you need to know is how your plant is going to be affected by things like drought, rain, fertilizer, pesticides, what's happening. You need to know, where are they? Are they setting fruit? Are they setting a flower? Are they just still in their vegetative growth stage? Are they in their downward spiral stage? Where is the plant? So knowing what to look for, knowing where to look, what to look for, and what stage it's in is really going to help you help the plant. So you need to know things about cells, tissues, organs. These kinds of things are definitely going to help. Okay, so there are 2 types of cells. This should not be new information for you because you're biology majors. So there are prokaryotes and eukaryotes. There are plants in both of these because in the prokaryotic arena, we have bacteria and blue-green algae, and they photosynthesize. And in the eukaryote, we have most everything else that you think of as plant. Plant cell anatomy. I know you guys are excited. So deep down, you're like, I love a plant cell. So basically, you have organelles. You have the plasmalemma. You have the cytoplasm. So the cytoplasm is basically just all the gelatinous. Think of it as the jello, and then everything else is the marshmallows and the things in the jello salad. So the cytoplasm is just the jello. It's a thick liquid, kind of like jello, maybe slime, something like that, and they flow through. Here's the big picture. Okay, this should be a review, friends. This should be a review. You have the endoplasmic reticulum. The ribosomes are attached to the ER. What's in the ER? Tell me. It's the site of protein synthesis. Yes, the endoplasmic reticulum. The chloroplasts. This is the site of photosynthesis. You've got the thylakoids and the grana and all that good stuff. You've got chlorophyll in there. You've got the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, right? Cellular respiration. Yep, also happens in plants. You have your ATP production, all of this in the mitochondria. You've got a nucleus. It's got chromosomes in it. It carries your genetic code. The DNA transcribes RNA, and the RNA translates to protein, and all that is going to happen with the DNA that's in the nucleus. The vacuole. So the vacuole is just a large, giant cell. It's kind of what it says it is. It's storage. So here's your vacuole, right? It's going to store water. So this is where you see the wilting and the swelling, right? If you have a lot of water, it's going to be all nice and your plant's going to look nice. If it's wilted, it's going to look, do I have any wilted? I don't have any wilted plants in my house. It's going to store salt. It's going to store maybe some different nutrients in here. And it is surrounded by a membrane, but this is where your water storage is going to be in your vacuole. Cell wall. It has a hard cell wall. This has got to be a multiple choice question that you've had at least one time in your life. The plant cell wall protects the cell, provides support, is non-living. It's the cellulose with the pectins and the lignins. You don't actually digest this. And then there's a middle lamella there in between. In between cell to cell, you have the plasmodesmata. This is basically a way for the plants to move nutrients, water, and